Hey guys, welcome to the fourth set between HwaSeung and HiyA. HiyA is just one of those guys that really pulls for Oz. I really feel like when he wins his matches, Oz ends up winning, because usually Jaedong can take a match. If HiyA takes one of the matches, that sends it to an ace, and then you have the auto win with Jaedong. But right now, Sparkyz on the verge of eliminating Oz. They are up 2-1. I'm sorry, yeah, that was right. Sparkyz up 2-1 over HwaSeung Oz. Lita taking that last game. This match going to be on Outsider. It's going to be really fun. Have you had a chance to look at this map at all, Kenny? What do you think of it?
Yeah, I took a little bit look at it here. It is a three-player map, and what it kind of reminds me, just like the looks, obviously, because it is a more of a lava-y type looking map. It does look a lot like the old, what was it called, Neo? I can't remember. It's like Neo something. Really old school map. Basically, that was a four-player map. It just looks that way. It's completely not built that way. It actually looks like it has kind of an Osiris shoe symbol in the middle of it, flipped on its back if you look carefully enough. But overall, I think this map will play out. It's kind of interesting. I can't really tell. I actually haven't seen any games played on this Pro League way, so I don't know how the games really work out. I'm looking at the stats right now, and it looks like, I guess, in PvT, it's in favor of the Terran one game, which is kind of interesting. So, I mean, that's something to note, but overall, I can't really say a whole lot about the match other than it looks like it's laid out in the way that it looks pretty standardish, nothing too crazy, leaning towards one side or the other, at least from what I can tell thus far.
It almost reminds me of Iron Curtain, because you've got a lot of those minerals, just kind of mineral lines out in the field, and where you can kind of sneak the SCVs through. Although, as far as I think there's a ramp leading down to them, so you can kind of you got your secondary, which is easy to hold, but you also have that ramp backside, which kind of with the mineral lines can allow cheese. And Iron Curtain is a really fun 2 versus 2 map. I think this would actually make a really fun 2 versus 2 map if they add another spawn. It's actually a 3-player map. So we'll see how it ends up working out. Honestly, between these two guys, HwaSeung, I haven't seen a ton of his games. He never was all that spectacular to me. HiyA is one of those guys who's pretty solid and pretty creative, so I'm going to give him the advantage in this map. But we'll have to see how it works. It is like slightly unbuildable across the middle of the map. I'm not sure if it's entirely unbuildable across the entirety of it. I expect Arbiter play to be pretty strong. I think carriers could also work just because there are a lot of ridges, and the ridges are very, very close. To expansions, but that would require it basically for a Terran. I feel to do that, to warrant that, you'd have to see a Terran going for a quick third base rather than kind of going out from there and doing something kind of creative into the mid game. And speaking of creative, looks like HiyA already checking that base. Doesn't look like he's sending him to that back edge to go across that mineral line, so he's just going to at least do the scouting pattern heads up. I guess he would have needed another
Yeah,
SCV, or he could have snuck it out with the supply depot. But yeah, we'll have to see how it works out into the mid game.
Yeah, I gotta say, I agree completely with you, Diggity, on the whole HiyA winning and HwaSeung Oz going on to be successful. I really think that is a key factor, and so definitely be looking for that. Terran versus Protoss on this map, from what I'm gathering so far, it looks pretty standard. I mean, I can't really say that it looks like it would severely. The difference in the maps, when I was explaining them in the beginning, if the map you were thinking of, which I still don't know the second name to it, it's Neo something. I honestly can't remember. I don't know why. It's always on the tip of my tongue, but I always want to say Neo Requiem, and I don't know if that's right. That's definitely not
Neo
right. So,
Requiem is a recent
may,
map. That
yeah. So,
it's got at least the
so
ash head out.
yeah, but I think the difference is that one goes down into the base as opposed to this one is already on higher ground and goes down and out. So really, it's pretty standard in that way. But again, I think that, I mean, this map will play into a lot more late game-ish type play. At least that's what it appears to be. It looks like it's stretched out. It's got a lot of room out in the middle, so it's going to be much more macro intensive. The natural is pretty close, although it looks like it's a lot harder to hold, especially as a Terran. There really is no choke there at all. So holding that against defense or against some harass is maybe a little bit harder. And now you can see some early game harassment here coming from HwaSeung, and that's a smart decision here. Put a little bit of pressure on the Terran, make him make a few extra Marines, make him bring some SCVs down to repair this. That's not a bad decision, especially since it's pretty direct from base to base if you want to run to fight their wall. And he's getting there in a good amount of time. As you can see, the tank is still not out yet, just Marines and these SCVs. So this has done enough damage that he's at least made the SCVs pull off from mining, and that's exactly what that strategy usually does. And as you can see, He is going for a one gate strategy into tech, so I'd expect that we're going to either see uh, probably not a Citadel, because if we were going to see a Citadel, it would have already been up. Usually, when people are trying to rush GT, they go very quickly. Uh, but I suspect that we'll probably see an early Robo Bay. Maybe we'll see some Reaver play. Maybe we'll just see one gate obs into expansion. We're just gonna have to see. But now looks like HiyA is going to move out and try to put some pressure on. And is that a Citadel? Man, I'm eating my words
Yeah.
today, Diggity. I don't know what's up with me today, but there you go. So we are going to see maybe some DT or legs, but most likely DT, which is pretty rare. But he's doing a good job. He's putting the pressure on the Terran. And if this sneaks by and sees this, though, this would be bad news bear. And I don't think it's going to. So that is good news for HwaSeung, who's actually playing decently, I think.
I was really surprised that HiyA pushed in for that attack. He had a Zealot, more Dragoons coming to support the 2 Dragoons that were already there, and he had a very scattered force. He only had 2 Marines, a single Vulture, and a tank ready to push against that, so he knew he was going to have to plan his mines early, and he risked that Zealot pulling those mines away. So I was very confused why he decided to push that attack out. Maybe just because he didn't want to have the pressure on his secondary. But yeah, I really did. I like that choice by HwaSeung once he saw that front door seal to just go and put him some pressure on that front door, because you know the tank's always going to be late when you have to put that supply depot down rather than to seal your front door rather than getting that factory down the opposite end. It looks like a probe scout wandering out and getting killed. And we'll see if this Vulture looks like he's just planning mines just to kind of scout across the edge. I do know that there's sometimes a way that you can, I think it has to be kind of going to a 45-degree angle to the left though, to really sneak a Vulture through using its own mines. Don't quote me on that, because I'm, again, not first of all, not a great player, and second of all, not a Terran player. But it looks like we do have that starport out. It looks like we are going to see very quick Arbiters out in the field, and not even Dark Templar, maybe a Dark Templar drop. We do have that robotics facility. But yeah, going to go straight to Arbiter tech, which should play out pretty interestingly, I guess. I'm kind of confused by this decision of tech. It's not like a Medusa where the middle of the map is so unbuildable and there's just a lot of places where you can kind of harass. The middle of the map is kind of very wide, and there's a lot of base options for Terran to take, none of which I feel like going Arbiter early really assists with. Maybe if he can get some Dark Templar to the 12 and also to the 3, he can force, and I think HiyA knows those Dark Templar are coming now, maybe he can delay that third base going up for quite some time, and then just use that Arbiter to make sure he doesn't get counter-pushed in the meantime. But yeah, we'll see how this ends up working out. He does have that turret and that siege tank already in position, kind of that anti, and also on that front door, so he's already built anti-DT, not feeling the Reaver pressure. But really at this stage, and yeah, there's the Arbiter Tribunal, but at this stage we'll see kind of what the strategy of the play is from this stage on. I'm going to be interested to see how this kind of moves out. I love new maps for this reason.
Well, I gotta say, I think that the Arbiter choice was a good idea, Diggity. And the reason is we were explaining earlier that this is a very wide open map. It really can play out to a lot of late game, and I think Arbiters on a wide open map is a very good choice. And now we see some DTs dropping here, and not a bad choice actually. Taking out a couple supply depots is a very good idea. And as you can see, the Academy is not done yet, so we're not going to have scanners up in time to save these depots. So every little bit of harassment like this is nice. It's going to put him behind supply. He's going to have to build more supply depots. That's going to cut his unit production just a little bit and give him more time to get his Arbiters out, to get his macro going a bit. And I gotta say, I really like the way HwaSeung is playing this entire game. He put the pressure on in the beginning. He defended well. He got his expansion up just at the right time. He went the right tech at the right times. And I really like his tech choice. Like I was saying earlier, Arbiters are just good for open map play, I really like to think, because when you're trying to push against a Terran who really has a whole lot of room to work with, you're going to need stasis or recall, and I think this is a good map for both of those. At least it appears to be. It looks like these DTs are pretty much nullified at this point. They're not going to really be able to do too much more damage, and as you can see, the third is going down for HwaSeung, so he's going for that late game macros type style of Protoss that we see so much these days, and I gotta say, Diggity, man, I am impressed with how HwaSeung is playing this out. I really like the way that the choices he's making. I think they all are for a reason, and I think we're going to see that reason all come together later in the game. Right now, as you can see, HiyA is really being forced to play a lot more defensively than he might want to, putting up a few more turrets than usual, keeping tanks at his main line, all of that. And he did hide the Arbiter tech, so, I mean, there's a good chance that HiyA doesn't even know that it's coming right now, which could play a significant difference later on in the game.
I really like how HwaSeung is just kind of keeping. He's got that observer to that 12 o'clock position, so he can see any units pushing through there. He also had that robotics, sorry, robotics facility. He had that shuttle, just kind of haunting over that corner, and it looks like HwaSeung going to go for an additional base in the corner. More Dark Templar getting dropped off here. He might end up losing the shuttle if they can't, and they're not going to be able to defend that shuttle. Now those Dark Templar are stranded. Ooh, and they're going to get killed fairly quickly. Ouch. And might end up losing that observer as well. Yeah, the observer getting taken out as well. Trying to run down. Wow, somehow the mine tripped out. I'm not even sure how that worked. But at least he's going to be able to keep that Dark Templar hanging around that 12 o'clock to deny that for a little bit of time. I would have really liked it if HwaSeung had just dropped another Dark Templar at that 3 to force basically either Comsat usage, which is just frustrating for a Terran player when they have to use a Comsat unnecessarily to not get tech information as opposed to something else. And HiyA in the meantime has gone straight, it looks like, to get that Science Vessel out, both for upgrades and I assume to get a Science Vessel anticipating the Arbiters. But yeah, I would have liked it at that 3 o'clock to deny that base as well, just to kind of do a double denial to make sure he maintains an economic lead. Right now he is going to end up economically behind unless he can shove and do something up right now, because it's going to be 3 bases versus 3, and when it's 3-3, Terran's at an advantage. Although the tech lead is very much in HwaSeung's favor, he does have Arbiters that are going to be coming just momentarily. So I'll have to see it pushes out to this stage. I got to feel like this looks like one of those maps where it's just going to be a big macro fest over the long term, and it's really going to be. It feels like I feel like every pro league they make a set of maps that depict different styles of play, and there's that Dark Templar. He's going to be able to see that dropship coming out, so hopefully we'll be able to react to this in time. Dragoon's already moving back there, and this feels like that map where it's like, yeah, use your, go macro, but don't overextend yourself. And I feel like that's kind of the style of this map is can you take bases and more or less can you defend them? That dropship still getting spotted out. And I think that is going to be kind of the hallmark into this mid game, is who gets greedy and who pays for it, and who gets greedy and or ambitious and is able to work with it. And greedy seems to be my word of the day today for the cast. So just switch it back to you, Kenny. But this dropship just trying to find openings and being very persistent and being very kind of keen on this. And actually, I think HwaSeung might be at 4 bases because it looks like he put up something there. I'm not sure if that's just Dragoons there. I think I see a little bit of movement on the line, but he actually might be at 4, so he's actually just kind of at it. I want to call that like a 4th base ahead economically, so he's actually still in a pretty good position. Vultures, oh, they are going to get dropped off. There is a cannon along that edge, but they're still going to be able to get some probe kills.
Yeah, I saw a shuttle go back there like he was going to drop some goons or something back there, but now he did not. And as you can see, losing at least 4 or so probes, which is definitely not something you want to do, but really he is in a macro-oriented build, and I think that he's going to be able to replenish that plenty fine. I did do a little bit of damage, and now here comes the Arbiter, which I really don't think HiyA knows about to this point. He might have scanned it, but we didn't see that happen, and if that's the case, this could catch him off guard. Really, a lot of Terrans, when they see the Arbiters, they will start going a lot earlier vessel than normally, and now they're not going to be. He's not going to be able to do that unless he was already just kind of having his Terran sense tingling a little bit and went for the. Oh, and we're going to maybe see a recall, and this looks like a good map to do recalls on. I gotta say, a lot of turrets there, but definitely he can get in time to do a recall, and that's exactly what he's going for right now. He has plenty of energy, and there we go. Big recall right onto that. Looks like the 3rd expansion there, or the 2nd expansion, the 3rd base, and that's going to do a lot of damage, but now he's just sort of trapped back here with a whole bunch of units. I don't know if I agree with this. I think this is actually the first really poor decision we've seen out of HwaSeung this game. I mean, it didn't serve the purpose. I mean, it didn't do any real damage. He made him pull the SCVs off. He maybe killed a few. He got rid of 1 scanner, but overall, now he's trapped back here. He lost his Arbiter. He lost a decent amount of units. I just don't think this was the smartest place to recall if he wanted to do that, and probably not the best time either, as HiyA really was not playing offensively. He's playing defensively, so his units were waiting for this, and as you can see, taking out a decent amount of tanks, but lost his entire force, did not lose the command center. So I gotta say, Diggity, I think that was the one mistake that he has made this game, and that really could make a difference in this game if he doesn't macro up another force very quickly. This would probably be HiyA's time now to move out and start doing some damage. Be looking for that very shortly, for those tanks to unsiege and start making a move. He still does have a decent amount of units out on the map, and he'll probably be able to reinforce those very quickly, but if HiyA makes his move, I think this is his time to embrace and do some damage, but it looks like he's going to sit back even more, just sit on his lead and try to get even more units and just out macro. Now he knows the Arbiters are out, so he's building a lot of turrets, he's putting up some mines, he's got some Goliaths, so I don't think that's going to work too much more in the future. But man, we just see HwaSeung just offensively expanding all over the place, putting up a lot of gateways, and he really has the resources to do that. So I got to say, if HiyA doesn't make his move, he's going to be screwed. I mean, even though he's on 3 base and he hasn't really lost a whole lot, he's just letting the Protoss get to that point where they can create so many units that it won't even matter at that point. So be looking for the Protoss to just get to that point where they can make like 30 gateways and just roll over the Terran. I mean, that's what it's looking like, man.
Yeah. I think that was Hwoarang's, and going for another recall, it's going to get stopped way short. Oh, wow, he actually managed to sneak that in somehow. Going to force Lita to, or I'm sorry, Lita, he's going to force HiyA to lift that up once again, or at least he's going to be able to get some SEV kills. I think his plan up to this stage was essentially he was at 4 bases, so he had the economic lead, and then continued to deny that 12th clock, which he did pretty successfully with that Dark Templar the mid game, and then just trying to minimize the mining happening there. Now he's getting a little too aggressive here. He does have a superior troop count, but really I don't think he needs to open this up or give HiyA any more reason to push out, especially because he is taking another expansion in that bottom right hand corner, which he does not have the units to defend right now. If HiyA pushes on him, he will, in my opinion, win the game. If HiyA does not push, I think HiyA is going to end up so far economically behind that he's just going to end up getting crushed overall. And it looks like he's just going to try to keep up. He's also trying to keep up the upgrade. It looks like he's sensing this, so he's trying to send some units out to that position just in case there's a push at it. There are a couple vultures moving across to that position, it looks like. Actually, it looks like they're along that 6 o'clock. But a Dragoon right there from that shuttle, able to at least stop them a little bit short. But now, going to go in for another recall. And, oh, with all those mines in the way, nice positioning here. This army's going to get absolutely crushed if it does land. But perhaps that's just a fake. He is turning around. Sensed it. That was a ninja sense right there, perhaps. But realizing, no, I don't want to land there. That's almost map hacks right there. But HwaSeung not in a bad position. If he continues to macro up, gets max, get a lot of High Templar, and just starts pumping out of 2 gateways, to get just a butt ton of Arbiters and Stasis, he'll be in a great position to win this. That's the one thing I'm not seeing, though, is more Arbiters. You're just kind of expending them out in the middle of the map, and I'm not seeing any High Templar. And I don't, at this stage, he's dropping again. At this stage, I think it's definitely a mistake. Early in the game, I don't think it was all that problem or key, and even if he does do damage here, I think he would have been better off just kind of macroing troops on that front door, but ignore me, because that looks like it's going to be successful. Another Arbiter grouping coming to the middle of the map to push against HiyA's front door, and it looks like that is going to be cleaned up to that 3 o'clock position, but HiyA's got to have a lot of troops to push out this front. As long as he holds this, actually, I don't think he'll be too bad off.
I honestly don't know exactly what HiyA has been doing this entire game, man. He's just been sitting in his base. He's been doing no damage at all. It really doesn't make any sense. I mean, we are about probably 17 or so minutes into this actual game, and this is the first set of real harassment he's done since that early vulture drop. And I just got to say, against Protoss, you can't let this happen. You can't let the Protoss just sit and take the whole map, get all the tech they want, get all the units they want, because you will lose that as Terran. You need to be aggressive at times. You need to know when you're going to attack, when you're going to defend. And I think he's played way too defensively this game. And I really think that HwaSeung's done a good job. Now you can see he's finally moving out, but I think it's just too late. At least it looks that way. As HwaSeung has really got just a huge army. He's got the tech. Like you said, Diggity, if he gets those High Templars going, get some storms, he'll be really in a good shape. There are a few vessels though, and I did see him get an EMP off on the at least one of the Arbiters, but this is a lot of units, and really it's only it is only Dragoon and Zealot, so this actually could do a lot of damage if he doesn't break through this. That is a lot of tanks. Is he going to be able to move through? I don't know. Yet he actually is not able to. It looks like he's gonna have to back off, and this is the lack of building some of those higher tech units like the High Templars and the getting some of those good storms off. So really he's pushed back, but I think he's going to be able to reproduce this very quickly. If he can defend against this army, I think HwaSeung wins this game pretty much instantly, because he's going to be able to produce so much faster. I mean, it's taken HiyA this whole entire game to build up this army. He's going to have to win it right now, and it looks like that's what he's going for, going right in the front door with this army and sieging up, and this could be really bad. This is basically where his gateways are rallied from, and he knows that, so he goes to attack, and it is just sad to see HwaSeung throw a game away like this. Really, I think right now he just threw this game away. He just didn't use the right unit compositions at the end. He got a little bit careless with his recalls, and I just think that that ended up killing him. And I can't see him now winning this game. He's gonna lose this expansion, and if the Terran wants, can push right up to basically the front door of where all the gateways are and where he produces all his units. So even if he has all the money in the world, it won't matter because they're all rallied to that point. And if he's held to a choke, it's not going to matter. He's just going to sit in EMP, keep vultures out front, siege his tanks, and he's going to lose the game. So it's sad to see that HwaSeung, who's not such a known player, do such a good job early on and then just throw it away like this. But being a Terran player, I guess, grats to the Terran. But really, he just had such an advantage. I can't believe he threw this game away.
Yeah, I think I was talking. I think it was Louder. I don't remember in what context, but I think it was Louder who said the key versus Terran late game is just to get as much stasis and as much Storm as you can, particularly once the Terran is basically at 3 bases, and that's the one thing I did not see HiyA do at this stage of the game. Is he did not have did not have High Templar out, and he let his Arbiters just get Storm or EMP'd time and time again. Nothing to stop this huge troop movement. Nothing to stop the powerful upgrades of the Terran army. No stasis blocking anything, nor no Storm completely shutting it short to use that bigger economy that he had. And yeah, now he's just going to end up getting run over. And that's what I was thinking was going to happen earlier. Is HiyA sitting on those 3 bases, just maxing out. HiyA had that nice opportunity if he just fought this off. Bad unit composition, able to run out and just run him over, and there he's going to have to GG, even though he was in a great economic position. So looks like HiyA doing his job, tied 2-2, and it looks like we are going to see an ace match. Look for it next game. Thanks for listening.